But okay, so let's talk about Gator Boats.
All right,
Are we going to talk about that?
Yeah.
How long you own it now?
Oh man, I don't know. May.
May.
So, yeah.
You bought out.
We officially took over in May.
Yeah, you bought Randy out.
I did.
And Randy Petzu was the previous owner.
Correct.
But you guys were just good friends.
We have been. We've been friends. Really, he built my first boat for me in 2003. Yeah. So, but I met him in 2002. I'd met him prior to that just a couple times, but didn't really know him that well. And strange circumstances of how we got to be friends. I had purchased a boat from Eagle out of Canada, kind of behind his back a little bit. We were going to try and put together a fast boat to go to races with Scorpion. Mm-hmm. And the owner of Scorpion and I had gotten to be pretty good buddies. And he was like, "This is the hull you want, blah, 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 blah." So I got the hull out of Canada, and shortly thereafter, Scorpion went out of business. And I had a bare hull sitting on the ground. Mm-hmm. Had an issue, and I didn't know how to finish a boat out or anything. Really didn't know much about boating. Ended up, I'd bought the wrong hull. But anyway, I just made a cold call to Randy, and I said, "This is my name. This is what I've got. Would you be interested in finishing the boat out for me?" And it was funny. He said, "Well, first of all, I know who you are, and I know about the boat." And
he already heard.
Oh, yeah, he knew as soon as it hit the ground. He had a friend that was a UPS driver or FedEx driver, one of the two. And as we were unloading it at the Scorpion lot, he was walking by it going, "That's an eagle." Mm-hmm. And you weren't supposed to be able to get eagles in the country. And now if you get an eagle hull down here, it goes through us. We're a distributor for Eagle in the
cool.
U.S. But anyway, he said, "Why don't you come out to my shop and we'll talk about this?" He said, "There's a few issues we need to talk about before I build you a boat." I said, "All right, what's it going to hurt?" So I went out there, and I walked into a shop, and there was about 8 dudes sitting there looking at me, waiting for me. And it was like after hours. And I thought, man, am I going to get my ass kicked here?
Yeah. Am I getting jumped? How old were you at this time too?
I was 30, probably. Yeah, I was 31, somewhere in that
pretty
neighborhood,
young.
32. At that age, it was, that's a killer age. 31, my 30s were the best great years, but you're cocky. You've got a little bit of, charisma sometimes. You've been out there, you got beaten up a little bit, you know how to do things. 30s are good years, but I walked into that meeting and he said, "All right, why'd you get that boat? Why didn't you come through us?" And I said, "Good friend of mine and I were going to try and build a boat. He owned a boat company and it just didn't work out, and we talked and ended up at the end of the night. He's like, "Well, let us talk as a group because we're a pretty tight little group here, and we'll let you know." All right. So he called me back the next day. He goes, "Here's the deal. I'll finish your boat out, but it has to have Gator on the side of it. And a few stipulations." No problem,
Yeah, easy.
So he started building the boat, and as a matter of fact, Tim Cole did a lot of the airbrush work on the boat for me on that one.
Cool.
And as we were building the boat, I got to know Randy's mom and dad a little bit, his dad especially, and they had a place up at Gascony Village, which is up by Herman. Mm-hmm. And his mom said, "You guys need to come up and get a place up there," because we were leasing a place down on the Gasconade in Vienna at the time. And she said, "Why don't you come up this weekend and we'll show you around?" And my wife and I didn't have anything going on, so we headed up there and met Randy's mom and dad, and had a few beers with them, and they showed us around the place up there. And his mom was pretty dead set we were going to buy the place straight across from him. And we ended up buying that, and so I bought a boat from Randy and bought a house or a little place up at Gascony Village right across the street from him. So we were neighbors, and every weekend, and just ended up being really, really close friends.
Cool.
He's
still got a place out there, doesn't he?
He does. Yeah, he's actually next door to my old place. He moved across the street from his, but that's how I really got to know Randy real well, and John Licklider that works there as well. John has a place there too, and John and Terry and Randy and Brenda, and our kids kind of grew up, running around playing together, and we just had a lot of fun up there. And then we started racing together. And so to answer your question, yeah, Randy and I have been friends for a long time.
So did you approach him about buying it, or did he approach you?
It was one of those things where I wasn't really necessarily in the market to start a boat company, but the mini market really I liked it a lot. And there was another company that had shut down, and I thought, man, somebody needs to really jump into that arena. And I had a lot of cool ideas that in my mind are just sitting there swirling. And at the other side of it was, there's no way in the world I would ever open up a boat company with one of my closest friends owning a boat company. It'd be a competition for him. So that was just something I wouldn't do. And got about 3 or 4 really good friends that I was just bouncing these ideas off of. And every one of my confidants, because you need those in life. You need the people that you feel secure with, that can give you good advice, and you can confide in them, and they're not going to tell everybody else about your business.
Yeah.
You need those folks.
Someone that you can reach out to and say, I have this idea.
I'm going to bounce this off.
Yeah. Do you think this is a good idea, or is this just something crazy?
And you want the guy that says, you're an idiot.
Yeah.
Run from that.
Yeah.
You don't want the guy that says yes to everything.
Yeah.
So I bounced
someone
that
that's
off.
going to tell you how it is.
And I started bouncing that off of my peer group, I'll call it. And every one of them said the same thing. You need to go talk to Randy, because at that point, Randy, he was getting a lot of cattle, and he really, I think for about 2 or 3 years, he'd been kind of thinking, how can I sell this business? And
who can I sell it to?
yeah,
It's going to do it
because
justice.
he had built this thing, and he did not want it to fail. So there were probably there was a short list of people he probably would have ever sold it to.
Yeah.
So we went out. We were testing a new boat that they'd built for a customer of ours, and I wanted to drive it because it had a new power plant that we'd never used before. It was Rotax was the brand, and it was the first one. So man, the second it hit the water, I wanted to see what it was like, because I had ideas for these other smaller boats. So we took it out. Me, Johnny, and Randy took it out for the test drive, and took a cooler with us. And by the time we got back to the boat ramp, we were talking about me buying the boat company from him.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And then shortly after, you end up buying it.
Yeah, it's on my end, we drug it out a long time because of, you got to figure out how to work financing. Because when you buy a new business, especially an existing business, there's a lot of stuff that you can't put a dollar on, so the bank has to be able to justify that. So you gotta,
like, are you talking like just blue sky stuff?
Blue sky. Blue sky is not financeable. So you have to figure out how to make things work.
And then Gator boats, their blue sky is everything. Not everything, but a big portion of it.
Yeah, a portion of it, and that's tough because you've got to somehow justify, either have the money sitting there to say, here's all this money, or if you're going to do your financing, you got to figure out how to justify that with the bank so that the bank is comfortable, so they can make that loan for you. So that takes some time, and again, equity.
Yeah,
you
have some leverage to
equity.
be able to pull on. Having all the body shops and to have the knowledge, like the knowledge already, basically how to run it. I'm sure there's lots of things. There's a learning curve with everything. But you already knew how to paint stuff. You had booths. You understood that atmosphere. There's probably stuff to learn, but you honestly, it falls right down your alley. It's exactly
really
what
is. It's cars and boats aren't really that much different in my view. They have motors, they have drivetrains, they have paint, they have steering wheels, they have this and that. They're all about the same. It's just one floats, one runs on the road.
Yeah, absolutely.
And one's a lot cooler, in my opinion.
Yeah, opinion based, but yeah, it's Gator boats are huge. I know so many people that love them.
Yeah,
and I know like the price of them going up too. Can we talk about pricing? What's one cost new now?